Hey guys, it's Jen from Penguin.com, and today I'm going to show you how to do the do-it-yourself arm knitting scarf, where all you need are two things of yarn, thick and bulky, and your arms. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you don't have any bracelets on. I like to wear bracelets, so I had to remove those ahead of time. But I did want to show you the kind of yarn that you're going to want to use. Like this is the yarn that I have. It's effortless, super bulky, and mushroom, but you can see it's a 6-ounce weight. So you want to make sure that you have something thick to get started with. So you're going to need 2 of these. And the first thing you need to do is unravel both of your yarns and then get your 2 pieces, your 2 end pieces, and just kind of give yourself some room here. Okay? And then once we get that, we are going to create a slip knot. So you're going to make sure that you create your slip knot by doing your twist and then pulling down, okay? And then you're going to place this on your arm and then just kind of tighten this up, all right? Now, the first thing that we're going to do to get started is we've got to create our chains. And whenever you do that, because you're using your arm, you're going to be creating change and moving up your arm. So you want to make sure that while it is a little loose here, you know that it's going to fit back up here as well. So try not to make these too terribly tight. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pause, because what I want to do is turn around. I want to show you how that we're going to get this started, and it's easier than me showing you this way. So I'm going to turn around the camera and then we're going to get started again. Hang on. Okay, so I'm back. The first thing I wanted to show you is this is your tail and this is the yarn that's still connected, okay? So what we want to do is you want to take your hand and you're going to put your fingers in like this, and then with your bottom two just kind of grasp those, and it almost looks like a little bit of a slingshot there, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our hand and we're going to go through here, and then over here on this other side we're going to go under that and then through this loop. And then we now have 2 loops, okay? So again, this is your end over here, and this is your working yarn. You take your fingers, put them like this, grab a hold of your yarn, go under, over this top one, and that creates a loop, and just put your hand through that loop. And you can tighten that up a little bit. Just try to make sure that you don't have it too tight. Okay, so let's do that again. Okay, and then we're going to go under, over, and through your loop. Another way that you can tell that you're doing this the right way is with your chains right here, you'll see that your threads are moving down your chains. So if you have one over here and one over here, then you're going to want to start over. So make sure that you're all going in the same direction, these parts here. All right, so we're going to do it again. Okay, this being my tail, this is my working yarn. I'm going to take my thumb and pointy finger and put them through here. And then I'm going to grab a hold of the strands there, and then I'm going to take my finger and go up through here, over this one, and then through that loop, okay? And so let's do this a few more times. Okay, so under, over, and then through. And then just slightly tighten it up. Just make sure you don't make it too tight, because you got to work it up your arm. And let's see, we have each chain, each stitch is 2 strands, so we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I like to do 11 or 12 on these, so we've got a few more to do. So under, over, and then through it. Okay, and like I was saying before, do you see how my strings are moving along here? You want to make sure that that's what's going on with yours as well. Let's do it again. This is probably the most difficult part right here. Once you get this, you're good to go. So under, over, and then through there. under, over, and through, and then tighten it up. Remember, not too tight. Under, over, through. Okay. We've got a few more of these to do, and then we're going to start making our scarf. Okay, and remember, this is your tail, and this is your working end here. All right, under, over, and through. All right, and I'm going to do just a couple more of these, and then we'll be ready. All right, one more. Under, over, and through. Okay, well, that's not too bad, right? So we've got our base chains over here, okay? So this right here is our tail. Just going to keep this over to the side, and this is our working yarn here, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to start creating these stitches. So this is where we're going to start. We're going to bring in our other hand for this one. So you want to grab a hold, just leave your tail down. You're not going to use this, okay? Grab a hold of your working yarn with the same hand that has your start on it. And then you want to take 2 strands, that's 1 chain, okay? And move it over your hand. And when you do that, you've created a loop. And you're going to stick your other hand right through it, grab a hold of it, and then just kind of pull it tight a little bit, okay? And then we're going to do it again. Okay, I was pausing that because I have a large lab who was about to start barking, and I figured you didn't want to hear that. So let's go back to where we were at, okay? I'm actually going to undo this so we can start it back over. You grab a hold of your working chain, okay? And actually, let me create another loop real fast because I used one. All right, that way my scarf is the correct width that I want to have it. All right, so this is your tail, okay? And this is your working yarn here. So you're going to grab your working yarn in your hand. You're going to take your stitch, pull it over your hand, creating a loop, okay? Let go of that and just place your arm through, grabbing your working chain underneath, and then just kind of tighten it up a little bit. And remember, you don't want to make this too tight. So once again, grab your working chain and then move this over your arm, create that loop, and put your hand through this loop. All right, so grab your working yarn, create that loop, and put your hand through the loop. Now this looks like, I mean, if you look at it, it looks crazy, right? It's not, just keep going. This is the first set of chains that you're creating. So once again, we want to pull our working yarn through and then stick our arm right through it. Grab your working yarn, make your loop, and place your arm through. And once you've done this a few times, this will go by amazingly fast. Like, you won't believe how many of these you can probably make in a day. I mean, my little one, she likes to nap for about 2 hours. I could probably do a good 3 or 4 of these while she was napping if I wanted to. So I'm just kind of tightening these up a little bit. I don't want them too terribly tight because I like the thicker, chunkier look. So we're going to keep going here. All right, so remember, you got your working yarn. You want to grab your stitch, pull your working yarn through, and then your hand right through it. And just a couple more. Perfect. Okay, and then last one. We're going to grab the working yarn, make our loop, and then tighten it up a little bit. And then you'll see you've got your first row of stitches here for your scarf, okay? So what we're gonna do again is we're gonna start on the other side. So we're gonna grab our working yarn, we're gonna remove this, creating the loop, and then put your arm through the loop and then tighten it up, okay? And grab the working yarn. Okay. Oops. All right, so we want to make sure, once again, we've got our working yarn in the hand that we've got our loops on, making the loop, and then putting your hand through the loop, okay? So I'm going to turn back around here, so this will be a little bit easier to see. All right, so my working yarn and through the loop, okay? So working yarn in this hand, and then through the loop. And you'll see this is going to go by a lot faster than you think. It's just really getting started with the first couple of stitches, but once you get started with that, it'll go by really fast. Like this is the third one that I've made today. Okay. All right, so see our scarf is getting a little bit longer. So we're going to keep on doing this until you create the length that you want. You're going to do everything exactly the same as you've been doing, okay? You're going to grab a hold of your working yarn, make a loop, and then put your arm through and then just tighten it up a little bit, okay? And then grab your working yarn, make your loop, and tighten it back up. And you can see mine are fairly loose. I like it chunky. Okay. So this, as you can see, goes by really fast. I'm not going to do this for 30 minutes because I know you probably don't want to watch this video for that long. So I'm going to finish up this line real fast, and then I'll hit pause, and then I'll come back at the end so I can show you how to bind off your new scarf. And like I said, this should only take you about 30-45 minutes to do one completely. All right, so once again, you've got working yarn, move and make your loop, put your arm through the loop, grab a hold of your working yarn, and do it again. It's pretty repetitive. It's actually therapeutic. I mean, you can probably do this with your eyes closed. Okay, I couldn't do it with my eyes closed, but all right, so you see how much we've gotten done in just a few minutes? This goes by really fast. So I'm going to let you keep looping and then make about 20 chains if you want to do like a double infinity scarf. Make about 20 chains, and then I'll meet you back here when I finish up mine, and then I'll show you how to bind it all off. Thanks. Okay, so hopefully you have lots of loops and you have a nice long beautiful scarf. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to bind off. So if you've ever worked with a loom before, it's very similar to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this kind of like we're creating a stitch. So we're going to take one stitch and place our arm through, okay, and then tighten that up just a little bit, and then we're going to take another stitch and bring that through and then tighten that up a little bit. Now what's different is now you can drop your working yarn, take this second stitch, the first one that you put on your arm, so the one that's closest to your elbow, and you want to bring that over this last stitch that you just brought on, and then tighten down a little bit, okay? And then let's see, gather your working yarn and then tighten this back up on your wrist. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing again. So grab your working yarn, create that loop, put your arm through, tighten it up, and then you can drop that piece, take the one that's closest to your elbow and bring it over the one that you just put on there, and then you can tighten that up. Okay, so take your working yarn again and create that stitch. Alright, drop it, bring that over, and then you can tighten that up. Alright, and we're going to do it again. This brown is hard for me to see. Okay, and I have my glasses on. Okay, so tighten that up a little bit, take that second one and bring it over. Alright, and then you want to grab your working yarn again to tighten up that last loop. Get your stitch, put your arm through, tighten that up, and then bring that other one over, and then tighten, and then adjust again with your working yarn to tighten your stitch back up. And you can see where this is starting to bind off down here. Alright, and then you want to drop it, and bring it down, and tighten it back up, and just a few more to go. Alright, I'll bring this one over. So again, bring it down, arm through, tighten it up a little bit, and then drop that, bring that last one over, and then tighten it up. And then we've got one more after this one. Okay, so tighten it up, remove our last one, put our arm through, tighten up, and then bring this one over. Okay, so now we have our loop, one loop left, okay, and this is where we've bound off. And what you're going to do here is we're just going to create another knot, okay, and then we're going to twist and turn and do it again. Alright, create another knot so this doesn't go crazy for us, okay? And then once you're done with that, you can cut these pieces here. Make sure your knot's good and tight. And then take your scissors and then cut your pieces. And now you have this beautiful long scarf, okay? So what you're going to want to do to make this scarf come together is you want to take your ends that you just did, and you want to match it up with your other end, and then with that long tail that you have, that you started off with, go ahead and take that tail and start kind of weaving it through these ends up here. And once you have that woven through all the way up to the end, just tie off another knot, snip it, and you're done, and you have your infinity scarf. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick and easy tutorial for the do-it-yourself arm knitting. And I hope to see you over at penguin.com soon. Thanks.